All right, welcome back to the Canadian Gun Vault, Behind the Vault Door. My name is Mark Morelli. I'll be your podcast host. Don't know if you're going to be listening to this in the mornings or the evenings. I've been doing these podcasts at night, and I enjoy doing them at night. It gives me an opportunity to relax a little bit and speak to you guys. If you're still interested in listening, because sometimes I wonder whether or not anybody's listening. I definitely want to see you guys start to spread this stuff around. If you like what you're hearing in the podcast, you enjoy it, get it around. If you work in a gun store and you listen to the podcast, tell the people that come into your store about us. We're really looking forward to more people being made aware of us. If you head into your local gun store, you might find that if they're one of the ones that we pay visits to on a more frequent basis, you'll find Canadian Gun Vault stickers, vinyl stickers that you can place on, your range cases, and certainly on safes. They look really good on those. I've seen people put them on vehicles. I don't actively encourage that. I don't discourage it either, but at the same time, it's definitely one of those things you got to think about. Security issues. Placing a sticker on your car where people ordinarily see it might be a sign of guns being in the house, which could draw unnecessary attention to you. If you have a garage, that's fine. I love the idea of people putting them on their cars is really cool. But to be fair, I wouldn't recommend the practice. And certainly, you do what you want. Everybody makes a decision. I've become, this Canadian Gun Vault entity, and I certainly have had pictures taken of my face. I assume certain security risks by doing this. Not something I encourage everybody else to do. Just something to think about, and don't mean to start this thing off with a dark note, but these are the important things we have to think about as gun owners. It's really necessary that we think a few steps ahead. Exercise necessary precautions. Be practical. It's not the kind of thing that you shout out at the top of your lungs. But if you find good people in your life that think that they're, capable of handling the information, share that with them. I really want to see this thing grow. And in order to do that, it requires you guys to share it. And you can put it on the forums. You can mention it to your friends. You can send it off and forward podcasts to people for their listening pleasure. And maybe they'll hear a little something that might educate them and entertain them at the same time. I really like the idea of using these different formats I have available to me to further the spreading of our very positive message about the firearm community. So if you want to do your part, definitely put that out there for people to see and share it with people. I want to see us get around. Anyway, on to a happier note. Right? I'm thinking of instituting a new initiative at the Canadian Gun Vault. And it came with the arrival of this really cool Beretta pistol, that came through my hands. And the owner of the pistol has been nice enough to offer it up for a little shooting contest, which I think is really cool. I haven't been on the line as much as I'd like to be. I definitely would like to spend a little bit of time out there practicing before I engage in this activity. But we've come up with a new initiative that I think people are going to enjoy. We're going to select certain locations around the Southern Ontario area. I'm going to be spending a little time shooting this Beretta. It's a little .22 caliber Beretta. I believe it's the model 71. And actually it's the 75, so it's the target model, I guess. It would have been a subcompact gun with a barrel that ended at the end of the slide. It's a semi-automatic, Beretta style pistol. It looks like a little miniature 92, which is really cool. It's so small. It sits in your hand like it's tiny, and yet it has this long protruding barrel. And I mean, if you go look it up online, the Beretta 75, it's a really cool piece. The sights are horrible. I'm not going to lie. They're so low profile and so old school. I mean, you can definitely see that this thing is from a different time in target shooting. But nonetheless, it's a very cool .22 caliber piece. It's got this finger rest on the magazine built into the butt plate that makes it like really look and feel like a James Bond gun, which I think is really cool. And it's all black. And the fact that it's in .22 makes it kind of fun to shoot. I've only shot it once. I just recently got the magazine for this. The collector who bought it without a magazine and then gave it over to us and said, do what you want with it, anything that promotes the cause. So I thought, well, why not give people an opportunity to win it? You know, and I'm thinking that's, you know, that'd be a pretty neat contest prize. It's a really cool little gun, and I'd like to offer that up to, you know, any restricted license holder in Southern Ontario, or any from any other area, quite frankly, if they're willing to make the trek. But we're going to select certain locations, and we're going to do what's essentially going to be is a little racing for slips. You know, this one's been given over to me to use. I got a magazine for it. You know, I am going to practice with it. If you're going to have an opportunity to win this thing, I better be a half decent shot, not give it away to the first person that steps in line. But if you think you got some shooting skills and you want to come out and, you know, take a stab at winning a Beretta 75. And if you go look it up online, it's a really cool little pistol. You know, it's certainly not, you know, an overly expensive piece, but I think it would be one that would be kind of fun to win. And of course, if you show up, you know, we're gonna have to actually make use of a range. So if you want to show up for a chance to win this pistol, we're going to select certain locations. I'm sure there'll be a guest fee involved. I'll ask you to bring that. That'll be your price of entry. If you want to come up and take a shot at winning this gun, we're going to have to set up some kind of course parameters. It'll be like a bullseye style competition. There'll be no running and changing magazines. For those of you that have visions of maybe doing, you know, a forward barrel roll with this gun in competition style shooting. No, we're just going to do a regular old-fashioned target shoot. I'm thinking it'll be something to the effect of, you know, 40 feet, you know, 2 magazines or 20 rounds, you know, whatever comes first. I'm not sure with this piece, but we'll shoot. And if you can outshoot me and outscore me in the target, you'll have an opportunity to win this pistol. I'm really excited about doing this. I think that it's one of those things that just was brought to my attention, might be kind of cool, and why not? So you'll have your chance, folks. Definitely want you to be on the lookout on our Instagram page and on our Facebook. We'll make an announcement. You know, sometime, probably, I would think sometime after Christmas might be practical. I don't want you guys drifting away from your wives and families too close to Christmas to go shooting. I'm sure that that might not go over very well, or maybe it would. I don't know. Maybe just to start off slow, to have just a few people show up. I mean, if you want an opportunity to win this thing, yeah, you'll have to come. We'll definitely make that announcement sometime soon, and we'll let you know where it's going to be and what time it's going to be at, and you can attend, and we can get this ball rolling, because I think this will be a lot of fun. Anyway, other items in the news today. There was a poll. Apparently a poll that was generated to see who was in favor of more restrictive gun controls or relaxed gun controls. I guess the poll gave people one of 3 choices to either vote in favor of, you know, more relaxed gun controls, or that you think that ones that should be more restrictive should be implemented. Then there's the they're just fine category. And so this poll was brought to my attention, and I couldn't resist. I pointed the population in like 3 posts at this poll, and then all of a sudden we did this like massive turnaround in this Y108 poll, which is one of our local radio stations. You know, and if I remember correctly, a good one. I don't listen to the radio much. My duties as the Canadian Gun Vault kind of take me away sometimes from things I could enjoy, like good music and a radio station. I find myself talking on the phone a lot and spending a lot of time on computers and tablets. My head down quite a bit, but definitely something that, you know, it definitely got my interest. Why not get involved in a poll? So I pointed the audience at it, and of course the numbers suddenly get all messed up. You know, you've got, I think we went from like most people were in favor of, you know, more restrictive controls to all of a sudden, you know, like 57% said we need to relax the laws, and you know, 39% said, you know, they're fine the way they are. And then there was like this like measly like 7 or 8% saying, like, no, we need more restrictive gun controls. Like, we completely obliterated that poll. I don't know if that was us. I can't lay claim to that, but I mean, it just isn't it kind of funny that the number of people that went to the poll and participated in the poll suddenly changed, and we changed the outcome of that poll. So I'm not saying we should like always be on the lookout for these things, but we should probably always be on the lookout for these things. So I really appreciate the person that brought that to my attention. You know what? It was really critical, to know that certain social media are using their platform to promote certain things or to conduct polls, simple polls. We at any time can vote. I don't encourage people to vote more than once. I've seen that practice done by the other side, and I don't endorse it. If you find yourself presented with an opportunity to vote twice, don't do it. I'd rather that nobody come back later and say, look, they actually voted twice and screwed up this big win. I mean, if we're able to vote, we vote. And if you come across a poll, participate in it and spread it around. Definitely bring it to my attention if you can. If you know other people that watch the internet very closely for this sort of thing, please direct them to our channel. We like to stay upbeat on the latest and the greatest. So I can't be everywhere at once. I certainly can't be reading all the time and behind the camera too. So if you can bring that stuff to my attention, that's a big help. People are always asking me how can I help. That's one way you can help. Sending in photos is always nice. Please indicate if you want to be identified or not, and take them in well-lit areas. Preferably outdoors is always nice. There's a few that have taken like incredible photos of fantastic guns, and I'm just not able to use them because they're not in the correct lighting. When I say correct lighting, I can't have a big arm. Shadow of an arm over top of them, and I know you can do better. So I'm asking everybody to either take their firearms outside if it's safe to do so, and if your neighbor isn't gonna like lose their marbles, do that. If you live out in the rural areas, it can make for some terrifically scenic photos. If you guys want to help me out, that's always a big help. If you could take your favorite rifle someplace and shoot me a DM, I'll see to it that it goes up on the page, and definitely love to give you credit, but not everybody's comfortable with that, so I'm cool with whatever you want. And let's see what else. When I usually get up here, I like to think about something that makes the firearm community really special. Because it is different. I spoke to a buddy of mine the other day who told me that I have been part of a lot of different communities. And this is a very talented young man. Driven, intelligent, great to talk to. Obviously a competitor. He has his credentials, and I'm sitting with him, and I'm thinking, yep. There's a good chance that this kid could be a national champion. He's got the drive, he's got the talent, he's got the genes. And he's sitting with me, and I'm really excited because I got an opportunity to sit next to what potentially could be a future national champion one day. And I told him that, and he blushed, like any champion would. But I can tell that he's going to get there. In a very short period of time, this kid has really stepped up in competition. I saw him move in a short video clip. After knowing him for a while, I didn't have an opportunity to review any of his footwork and him on the firing line and moving and shooting. But when I did, I was really blown away. This kid moves like a cat. He's got super long legs, and every stride is like 2 of a normal person's. And he's fast with the gun, quick on the draw, and he's able to hustle out there. And I'm definitely thinking that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with down the road in the competitive circuit. So I'm really excited. I'm sitting down with this young man, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is potentially going to be that meeting we talk about years from now when I say, holy cow, I remember when. I'm a little bit older than this guy, and it shows in the way he moves. And I'm sitting down with him, and he tells me that he's engaged in other activities, physically demanding activities, things that require dedication and the building of a skill set. And he does run down this list, and he excels. You can tell, and he doesn't even need to tell me that for me to know. And he tells me in the middle of all this, he says, there is something terrifically special about the firearm community. There's something about it. And I've been part of so many different groups, and, there's nothing like this. And to hear that, from this, incredible young man, and definitely a really bright beacon for us to follow. Clean cut, he's a bit edgy, but you can tell, carries himself with pride. Met him through his older brother, had no idea, that this kid was going to be a superstar. And that's the way I see him. He moves so fast, people can't keep up. And he just started. So we're really pleased to bring you, Two-Eyed Practical. My buddy Marky, and I'm really excited to see him out there on the line. We're going to be following him with a camera. We still got to talk about some of the finer details of doing this, but we got to set up a course of fire, and I can't wait to showcase this kid's talent. So I'm sitting there with this young man, and he's telling me that the firearm community is just such a special place. And why is it? Just incredible people, diverse group, accepting, welcoming. He's going through this list of really awesome qualities. And I'm thinking, yep, that's it. Yep, you got it. He understands, that the firearm community is a incredibly special one. People from all age groupings and ethnic backgrounds are getting together and enjoying this great activity and hurting nobody. And they're having a fantastic time, and somebody would want to come along and wreck that. And, and in comes the government. Nobody's really told us what they're doing yet. So, we're definitely getting to the point now where I'd like to know, enough times passed, they should have some idea of what's coming down the pike. I think that we should turn to our lobby group leaders and ask them what's going on right now. Definitely got to spend some time with the people from the CCFR and find out what their take is on the latest items. Perhaps I'll give Tracy Wilson a call. I promised myself I wouldn't do that, but that's if they want to include me in some of their activities. But as a paid member, I'd like to know what's going on right now, with the government and their plans to execute new firearm regulations, or to suggest that they be implemented. Although I imagine if it's like anything else, they'll try just jamming it down people's throats, and they do have majority government, so they can pretty much get what they want. I have one friend, a very intelligent friend, that tells me that he sees a full-on ban on semi-automatics coming. And he doesn't seem to be wrong that often. I don't know if there's going to be time to implement that now. It depends on how forceful they are. If they say just turn them in and no compensation, I think people are going to have a problem with that. Do I think that they're going to go that far? Probably not. I think that we are, getting organized and they realize it. This isn't the time to panic. This is the time to pull together. So, again, I ask that you spread around our message, let people know who we are, take it back to your gun clubs and your, boards of directors. Let them know that the Canadian Gun Vault is a bona fide phenomenon. We are being watched by quite a few people. I'm sure by quite a few parties have got to have interest at this point. I'm sure we garnered the attention of the RCMP. God bless the boys. I love those red outfits. I was a police officer and worked for a service for 20 years. And, there was something always really cool about that red uniform. We don't have any grudge against the RCMP, not in this community. The Canadian Gun Vault community, realizes, I think, that the federal police service, certainly the frontliners have no ill feelings towards firearms. It always seems to come from much higher. But I can tell you that, we are friends to the law enforcement community. We definitely want to promote people understanding what you go through. It's one of those delicate subjects that I'm sure doesn't get discussed much. But since I am an ex-police officer, I'd love, to delve into that at some point a little more deeply. There's a lot of things in police culture that I think people should know about. That it's important that they understand the pressures that our frontline personnel have to face on a daily basis, and the cumulative effects of having to deal with those pressures. It's not unlike appreciating soldiers. They go through quite a lot to serve our country, to ensure your safety, and we definitely don't have any grudges against the military. We'd like to get along with everybody, but certainly I think it's important to appreciate people that really deserve it. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for tonight's Canadian Gun Vault Behind the Vault Door. I hope you've enjoyed my podcast. And as always, Canada, stay safe, shoot straight.